Thanks for tuning in to the Choose Optimism podcast brought to you by Optimist International. Today we have Tracy Kingston from the Optimist Club of Moore in Corunna, Ontario, Canada. Tracy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, one of the things we always talk about in this podcast is your optimist story. Tell us a little bit about how you became an optimist and your journey in your as being an optimist.
Yeah, I was thinking of that the other day. I truly can't remember. I've been a member since 1991. So 35 years ago, one of my neighbors approached me. They were long time, very involved optimists and just approached me to ask me if I wanted to join. So I just did. I've always been involved with my community. I was involved heavily with 4-H. I was a 4-H leader, junior achievement, always involved in the community. So this was a good extension and another way that I could, just help out in the community.
Tell us a little bit about your club and the fundraisers and things that you guys do in the project throughout the year.
Well, our club's been around since 1967, so it's been part of the community for a very long time. We do a number of signature events in our community, and some of the ones I'm just going to feature. The big ones that we do are Easter in the Park. We just had that yesterday, so it's great. And that's what we call our egg scramble, because we have, fun activities for the kids, and then it's a free for all. You put the eggs all out in the field. They run, they bring them back. We give out chocolate rabbits. We've got prizes for the ones that find the special egg as well. So it's really fun to see everybody come together. We're not too busy in the summertime. We give our club a bit of a break, but we also do the Corunna Street Festival. So this was a festival that I started with another committee in 2023. So Corunna was poised to be a possible capital city for the country of Canada back in 1823. So with our historical group, Heritage St. Clair, we thought, well, it's a good time to celebrate 200 years of maybe becoming the capital city. So that spurred on historical events as well as a street festival. So last year we took that on as a project with the Optimist Club, which helped because it puts it under the Optimist umbrella, and it's just another event that we can be proud of. So it's kind of our summer send-off, and we have arts and culture and community and a big festival marketplace, all kinds of cool entertainment. So that's a really fun one for us. And once the autumn comes around, we do our Pumpkin Fest. So it's another showcase of our community spirit. We have games, pumpkins, all kinds of fun. 2025, it poured rain, so we did the best we could, gave out pumpkins and barbecued hot dogs, that kind of thing. And then another huge one for Corunna. Corunna's got a population of about 6,500 people. We also service an area of about probably 8,000 to 10,000 people. So the Corunna Santa Claus parade is huge. We took this over many, many years ago, and people come from all over for our parade. It's one of the premier parades in our area, so it's a good thing for us. We've also got a really cool float with actual reindeer, not actual reindeer, decoys. So we have a pretty spectacular float, and we end up with 40 to 50 entries, and we barely even have to advertise it. So that's one of our signature events as well. We also we took it over many years ago as well, Operation Christmas Tree. So this is kind of the hamper program where we distribute toys, and now we do gift cards for food for people in need at Christmas time. And the St. Clair Township Fire Department helps us. So it's a really good community event, as well as we collect food for the Corunna Food Bank. So those are kind of our four main community events as such.
Sounds like your club is pretty involved with the community then.
We seem to be. Now I've noticed we don't do again, because of the number of members we have, a lot of hands-on, kids coming to the clubhouse to do activities. So we find this keeps us busy enough as throughout the year. We also do a fundraiser through a used book sale. We did that last year and it was very successful. So I think we're going to be doing that again too. So there's plenty of opportunities. We kind of concentrate on the big ones for us.
like I said, your club is so involved, but today we're going to talk
Mhm.
about something completely different that you have for us. It's the Heartbeat of Service. Tell us a little bit about this program. Was it started by your Optimist Club or by you? Give us a little bit of background to it.
Well, it's not an actual program, but when I sat down to do, actually, I joined Toastmasters to really help with this kind of thing. I don't know if it's helping or not. However, we had to come up with our first speech. So I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought, community service is really a heartbeat of any community. And really, community events, and they're a very important tool for Optimist clubs as well. And at the simplest, a community event is really a shared space. And everybody is eager to get together, just even if it's a simple event. And we find too that events are we build bridges. We're not just out there throwing something at the community. We build community. So we find they're kind of a bridge between belonging and isolation. It brings people together. They're also a bridge between the potential and achievement for a child. You're giving them opportunities to come together and create something good. And it's also a bridge between our club and the community. I mean, we can only do what we can do. And people they just love what we do. We don't even have to advertise, which is kind of nice that people just know that they're happening, and they've become a tradition. Really, is what's been happening.
So give us a little bit of program, how you put this program into place to use things to for your Optimist Club.
Well, we start with a brainstorming session, and we think what worked last year, what's going to work this year, how are we going to tweak the event to make it a little bit different, and what can we add to it. We take feedback from our members, from the community as well. And it's just a coming together of ideas. And then we kind of make out a plan. We obviously hold the event. And then I found it's really important to make sure that somebody is in charge and coordinates the event. That really, really helps as well. Now, I'm not sure if I'm answering the question properly, but I was kind of go into some tips and things that we do to make sure that they're successful. Like I said, make sure you have a coordinator of your event. Make sure you plan. Write everything down. Write all the logistics and keep track of everything. And keep good records too. I find that's part of our success is that we write everything down. Everything from when to book the portable toilets, when to book the entertainment, all the little details count. And it's very important to keep track of those kind of things. We let's see. I honestly, I don't think we do anything really special, but I think it's the follow up, the contacts, making sure we get things out on social media so people can really see what we do. And make sure you build good relationships with your media as well, because now we don't even have to call the media. They show up at our events. So I'm not sure that quite answers the question, but there's nothing magical about what we do. We just make sure we do it year after year and try and reinvent it, but still make it special.
Let's break that down a little bit. I mean, you said that you have different steps. Let's talk about the first step in this program of the Heartbeat of Service, and then we'll kind of go into the other steps as we go. So what is the first step to get this things well organized for your events?
Like I said, keep good records from the previous year. Now, if you were starting from scratch, get your members together, do a brainstorming session, or just get 2 or 3 people together to start the process. Sometimes I find if you have a lot of people inputting, sometimes there's too many ideas, but maybe do a round table, write down every single idea, take those back to a committee, and try and pare them down a little bit. For instance, when we were doing the Corunna 200 celebration, I had this great idea. We're gonna have an event every weekend. We're gonna do this, that, and the other thing. And then somebody said, "Well, let's bring back an old tradition. We used to have something called Captain Kid Days. Oh, we still do. That started about 40 years ago, and that started right on the street. So she said, why don't we bring back the tradition of doing a street festival on the street? Close the main street down just for the day. It doesn't take long. So start with brainstorming, pare it down, get a consensus. Once you've decided on your idea, start brainstorming again. What kind of entertainment can we have? What kind of activities can we have? Pare that down again, create a budget. That's very important that you go with a budget, start applying for grants, start doing fundraising. That's kind of the next step, because if you don't have a budget and you have no idea what it's going to cost, then you can't really move forward. Now, I listened to one of your podcasts from a previous one, and the man that you interviewed said they don't pay for anything or very little. So really make connections in your community, and businesses are more than happy to help you. And in-kind donations are very important as well. I know for us, our township has municipal grants. So we have to have those in October. So check out what grants are available in your communities as well, and check the deadlines. Get applying for those as soon as you can. And create a budget within your club for community events. Are we going to do 10 this year? Are we going to do 3 this year? Plan ahead. And I find that's a weakness sometimes, is you kind of fly by the seat of your pants. But now that we have got our 5 signature events, we can put that into our calendar and start planning ahead. And then once we brainstorm, get all the ideas down, someone kind of takes charge of it, and they're the contact person. They kind of farm out all the different responsibilities to different members, and then we just kind of run with it.
Do you do like a brainstorming session before, like to get everything set up, and then do one afterwards to see what really went wrong and kind of find your solutions?
Yes, debriefing is very important. As I mentioned yesterday, we had a member that did an excellent job organizing our Easter in the park. She had everything down. A little bit of miscommunication because we didn't fill out the form and give it to everyone, so everyone knew everybody's on the same page. So make sure you have a coordinator, especially if you can't be there, to take over. So Melissa organized everything. She wasn't able to come yesterday, but no one is appointed to be the coordinator on that particular day. So make sure someone's in charge and has all the instructions. I just lost my train of thought. So
Let's talk a little
I
bit
can't.
about your club on these things. How many members are in your club and take part in these brainstorming sessions and debriefing things?
Right now, we have 35 members. We have probably 12 to 15 that continually come to our general meetings. So our general meetings is where we would kind of throw some ideas around. And then once 2 or 3 people volunteer to be on the parade committee, for instance, then those 3 people would get together, take all those ideas and kind of, like I said, pare them down and see what's going to work and not going to work. As far as debriefing, put out an email to everybody that was in attendance yesterday that was helping, get their thoughts and where the weaknesses lied and how we can make them a little bit better for next year. So usually a small group of people will do the major planning and the debriefing session, 2 to 3 people, because sometimes I find, especially on boards and things, too many people and too many ideas, as much as you don't want to discourage them, sometimes it's really hard to get things done efficiently.
What participation do you get from your club in these events? Is it, like how many participants do you usually get when you have one of these big events?
When we have one of the big ones, well, we had over 300 chocolate rabbits yesterday. So you figure 300 kids plus all their parents. So that is huge. Of course, that's weather dependent because it's always held the week before April. So if we estimated yesterday, there was probably 700 people there, which is pretty incredible for such a small town. Things like the Santa Claus parade, the main streets lined for 4 or 5 blocks, so thousands. So this is the hard part about estimating how many people are actually participating. The Pumpkin Fest, we have around probably 100 kids, 100 to 150 kids. Operation Christmas Tree, that's just basically we have a small committee of about a half a dozen people that look after that and get donations from the community. And we service about 125 or maybe 140 families this year. So, how do you measure participation and things like that? It's kind of tricky. And the Corunna Street Festival, I would say we had at least 1,000 people come because, they're milling about all day long. And we have, 45 vendors. So there's 100 people, that kind of thing. So overall, we just put down thousands of people because it's not like we're having a craft day and we have crafts for 50 kids. We know 50 kids came. So it's tricky sometimes to measure on large community events. And for Easter in the Park, we can tell there was 300 kids. We gave out 300 rabbits, that sort of thing. So that's really hard to measure on a large community event, but you can kind of estimate.
How many volunteers and people from your club attend these events on a day on an average basis?
On an average basis, I would say about 10. I think yesterday we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, around 10 to 12.
That seems like a pretty good turnout to get a event off the ground.
Yeah, I guess 30% of your membership, and it varies a little bit. As everyone knows, we all have the diehard volunteers that come out for everything. But one of the keys that I think we need to really concentrate on is phone the people that don't come and specifically ask them to help. Because we're constantly saying, well, who wants to help? Who wants to help? Well, a lot of people don't put their hands up. So make sure you phone those members that maybe you see twice a year and say, hey, are you available on Sunday? Would you be able to do this? I think it's important too to give them a specific job because I find, hey, just show up and talk to people. A lot of people don't want to do that. So if you give them a specific task, ask a specific person, and I think you would, increase the help that you receive as well. It's also important. We have a junior Optimist club too. So I think about 10 of those kids came out. So involve your family too. Ask your husband or your kids to come out and help you. I know, some of them bring their trailers and get the equipment and that sort of thing. It's just the biggest thing is reach out and ask people to help.
Let's go back and talk a little about the Heartbeat of Service program. Explain the process that you would use this service to if a club was just starting out and they wanted to use this program.
First, develop your own resources, develop forms and processes for an event. Really consider who you're going to reach and how you're going to reach them. Make sure that you put together a kit as well. Once you've kind of narrowed down what kind of event that you want, is it going to be an event that you're going to involve the whole community, a targeted audience, say kids from 6 to 10 years old, or something for teenagers? Create a form or a list of what you're going to need, how many people that need to help, that sort of thing. And consider too, somebody has a brilliant idea, but consider how much work it's going to be. If you can manage the budget, as well as how many people is it going to reach. If you're going to go to all this work and it's only going to reach 20 kids, which is better than zero, but is the time and effort going to equal the participation from the community? Because like I said, you don't want to go to a lot of work and realize maybe the amount of work we're doing isn't going to be reaching as many kids as we can. Now, don't be afraid as well to try an event. And if somebody's all gun ho, let them go with it. Let them plan it, let them get it together, because if you discourage them, they're not going to help you in the future. If you find that the event is a flop, that's okay. Evaluate it, either improve it to do it again or don't do it again at all. And don't be afraid. If you've done an event for years and years and years and your health is dwindling, the funds are dwindling, and it's just so much work and stress, it's okay to stop doing an event, because sometimes they get tired, the events get tired, and it's hard to reinvent them. So that's another thing. Don't be afraid to stop doing something. And if it's really crucial to the community, and because you can't manage it, somebody else will step up. Because that's what one of our clubs did, said, hey, we can't do all these things for youth if we don't have any members. And then suddenly everybody came out of the woodwork. But as far as we don't use a specific program as such, the heartbeat program, but you know what? When you say that, I might just kind of develop something, because I'm a stickler for details. So I want the forms, I want the lists, I want the purpose of actually doing your event. And see, now you got the wheels turning. I need to make a manual, that kind of thing. But it's important when you have a plan, make sure you also brand your club. Make sure everything you do has your logo, your sign, even if it's just the international logo, even without your town name on it. Make sure you're branding it all the time. Have signs, posters, shirts, anywhere you do an event, make sure they know it's an Optimist event, because we find sometimes people don't even know who's doing it.
What kind of things would you put in this kit, or would you recommend to put in this kit for people if a club is looking to do this program?
Let's say you're just doing a community outreach. There's a community festival and you're having a booth. You're doing our pumpkin fest. We're going to have a table with information on it. Make up your kit that has a table, your tablecloth. Make sure you have a tablecloth. Make sure it's clean. Membership forms. Always have membership forms available. Make a banner or a sign of some type describing what your club does, who you are, a brief history. Make it really simple. List some of the major events that you do in the community so that people go, oh, well, I'm buying a ticket for this, and this is where the money is going. And we found that really helped when we used to sell cash calendars. The people went, oh yeah, that's why you're selling the calendars. Membership, any kind of informational brochure about the club. I would think in your club, someone could make up, whether it's a 3-page flyer. We have a little postcard that on one side's got contact information, our social media addresses, things like that. So have something to give to the people, have membership forms available, and pens. Make sure you bring some pens along as well. Develop your elevator speech for your club too. And if anybody uses AI, sometimes that's a bad word, but you can go to one of the AI platforms and ask it to do a very small elevator speech to describe what your club does. There should be enough of your history out there that have an elevator pitch. So that when you're talking to somebody in 2 sentences, you can tell that person what your Optimist Club does and why they should join it. So what have we got? Tablecloth, table toppers with information, brochures, pens, membership forms. I'm trying to think what else we have in ours. We have a large stand-up banner too. And something like a large stand-up banner is really worth the investment. For a couple of $100. You look professional and it gets the word out there as well. In that kit also have a notebook so you can take down information as you go that, oh yeah, we had 12 people come to the table. We gave away 25 pens, that kind of thing. Even develop stickers or something you can give to people with your Optimist logo on it so they remember it. And be consistent. When you're branding anything, be consistent. Make sure you're using the proper international logo for your club on every single thing that you put out. Coordinate colors. I mean, we have shirts that are the Optimist blue with our logo on it as well. So anything you can do to get the name out there is important as well.
What advice would you give a new club if they're doing a new event to use the brainstorming session? What advice would you give them how to start this process to get this program in place?
Sit down with probably members of your executive, maybe your president, some of the directors. Sit down with those people first because those are the people that are leading your club. So get together as an executive, get out a whiteboard or a chalkboard and just start brainstorming. That's the biggest thing. And I think that's where ideas will come from, and it'll spark some interest. Oh yeah, I remember I was at this festival down in London and we saw this and this. I think this will work here. I think that's the biggest thing is just getting the ideas on paper first.
You made a comment earlier that I just thought of again when you said if a club member has an idea, let them run with it. That's just very good advice for clubs to have interactions from new members. Tell us a little bit about if somebody in your club has done that and kind of what the process was.
I think it'll probably be our Easter in the Park. The people that were the club members that were doing it thought, you know what, we don't want to do it anymore. So someone just stepped up. She kind of knew the process. She's been a member for a little while. And she just came up with all kinds of new ideas just to kind of revitalize it a bit. Can't think of a specific example. But I think that's the biggest thing. We really trust our members. So when somebody says, I will do this and I will take over this program, we trust that they do. And hopefully, they come through with their ideas. But most of the people that do ours are very strong organizers and they understand the process and they do get it done.
And I love the title Heartbeat of Service. Tell us a little bit how you came up with that slogan because that is a really unique slogan to use for a process that you're doing.
You know what? Honestly, AI is my friend now. So that's kind of where I kind of put the idea in what is community service? And that's what it came up with. And I thought that is perfect because as we all know, people are the heartbeat of their communities. Heartbeat to me is what makes things tick. So I can't take credit for the idea, but I thought it was a very good title for something that, when optimists are synonymous with a community, they're sometimes the core. There's some very small communities. If it weren't for Optimist Club, nothing would happen. And I even look at some of the clubs in our area. There's a population of like 600 people. And when you get 150 people for a spaghetti dinner, you know that they're doing something right. They've reached the right people and people can count on optimists as well. That, most of the clubs have been around for so long and Optimist has a good name. Even the name itself, Optimist. Well, you're optimistic. It's kind of built into you that you want to help and improve your community as well. And something that sets Optimist clubs apart too is the Optimist Creed. If people really, really look at that creed, everything we do is based on that because we don't just show up, we see the sunny side of everything, and we don't just solve problems. We forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. And that's something too. Don't dwell on things that didn't work. Turn them into things that will work. And when we host an event, we aren't really just providing a service, we're modeling a way of life because that's why people help their communities. We're showing the next generation that optimism is not a passive feeling, But optimism is a choice, and it's a choice to take action.
Well, Tracy, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you being on the program today and telling us about your program and hoping that clubs will borrow it and use it in their clubs to make our clubs that much more stronger.
Well, thank you for having us, because really the stories we hear during and after our events are just a testament to what we're doing, that we can take a very simple service club and make it into a community institution. You don't have to be out there every single day, but when you are, show up, do a good job, and people will really appreciate it. And really, the commitment of Optimist clubs, it's vital to the health of your community. So don't take anything you do lightly. You're making an impact whether you realize it or not.